3 simple tips for strength training for white belts. If you're looking for a free BJJ strength workout, I'm going to give you the link to my free giveaway. You can go to that link and you can get yourself some free resources. I give you 7 ways to boost your performance on the mat. I give you my 9-week strength and conditioning program for jiu-jitsu, and also a 30-day full body workout for jiu-jitsu. Let's get into today's video. So the thing about being a white belt and starting jiu-jitsu is it's probably the most exhausting jiu-jitsu feels when you first start. The better you get at jiu-jitsu, the less exhausting it is, because you're very efficient. You do the moves at the right time, so that doesn't gas you out as much. You don't feel as much fatigue. But when you're very inefficient, and especially if you have a gym that doesn't really ramp you up, you're just rolling around, you don't really know much technique, so you're using all your strength in every single position, and that, like I said, it's just super exhausting. It can make you super sore and really slow down your recovery. And if you're not careful, you can get hurt very quickly, which is why it's good to go to a good gym that knows how to ramp you up from a jiu-jitsu standpoint. But today I'm going to talk about the strength and conditioning standpoint, because by being fitter, if you're fit right now, or if you're just getting into fitness, if we can get you stronger, if we get you fitter, you're going to build a body that can endure kind of that really stressful time of being a white belt fit physically. This will allow you to not just survive white belt, but to excel and get to blue belt before you know it. So the first thing I want to go over is we want to train about 2 or 3 days a week. We don't need to do a bunch. Like I said, jiu-jitsu is going to be very stressful, and when it comes to recovery and performance, we have to manage our stress. Stress can be accumulative. What that means is that everything that stresses us physically, mentally, emotionally, they all play a role. It all stresses the body. And if we have too much of that stuff, we can experience poor recovery, injuries, we might just feel more fatigued. So we want a workout routine, almost like what I would call a minimalist workout routine, that is going to build some of the qualities that we need in jiu-jitsu that will help us not get hurt, but it's not going to interfere with our jiu-jitsu too much. So 2 or 3 times a week is ideal. Currently strength training, maybe you can do 3 days a week. If you're brand new to this, 2 days a week will do plenty. This will allow us to hit all the major qualities on a very simple template to get people started. And to me, what the basic qualities of a good strength and conditioning program is, we want to do something for power and speed. So that could be medicine ball variations, like light plyometrics, maybe some box jumps, even some kettlebell swing variations. Then we want to do a exercise for the lower body. We want to do an exercise for the upper body push. So usually like a chest press push-up variation. And something for upper body pull, that would be like working the back. So that would be like a chin up or row. What we can do, we can finish with some accessory work. So this might be areas that you are weak. Say if you feel like you have really weak grips, maybe you work on some farmer's carries. Say if you have elbow or shoulder issues, maybe you end with arm work. Maybe if you feel like you have weak hamstrings, you might end with leg curls. Maybe if you have weak core, you might do some core work. So hopefully you get where I'm going. So it's a very simple template. You can kind of steal this one where, again, exercise 1 power, then we do a lower body exercise, upper body push, upper body pull, do some accessory, and then out. You can be in and out like 45 minutes. Build the qualities that you need to do for jiu-jitsu, prevent some injuries, still be able to perform and excel on the mat. Number 2, the second thing I'm going to go over is, with strength training for jiu-jitsu, a little goes a long way. So we have to understand, the typical person that goes in the gym to work out, that's like kind of all they do as far as exercise. But now that you have jiu-jitsu, you have to take into consideration, you sometimes do less, because then you have that jiu-jitsu stress. And especially like I'm going to mention a bunch of times, at first it's very stressful because of how inefficient you are at jiu-jitsu. So what we have to understand that when you go in the weight room, we do not have to annihilate ourselves. We don't have to do a bunch of volume or a bunch of intensity. Usually this is how people get hurt. People often get hurt when they do too much too soon. We want to keep that in mind. And what I always say with strength training is, I always feel it's better to go deeper than do more. Here's what I mean. If you do more, you might do like 8 exercises and you're doing a ton of sets in volume. Deeper means you're doing actually less, but the quality of work is more. So what that would mean to me is, like, you might only do 3 or 4 exercises per workout, but you're taking your time to warm up. You're really focused on having good movement quality. You're focused on resting properly in between sets. So every set, high quality and the right intensity. That's what's going deeper. And I prefer my grapplers to go deeper than do a bunch of exercises. And then the volume doesn't have to be crazy. If you have enough intensity, 1 to 3 sets per exercise can be plenty. You might spend like 1 to 2 lighter sets to warm up, and then you go 1 to 2 hard sets on a particular exercise. Here's a quick example. Say like a hard set of squats for you is like 135 pounds. You might do 1 set with the bar, 1 set with 85 pounds, and then you might just do 2 sets with around that 135, and that's going to be plenty. The reason why a lot of people do sets, people don't really train hard, so they need all this sets, all this volume to get some type of change to the body. But if you're warm up properly, you take enough rest, and you actually have high quality sets, you don't need that much work. Like I said before, careful of too much volume, too intensity, too quick. It's better to start on the low end and build up over time than go too hard and have to back off. So because it's always easier to be like, hey, that workout was too easy this week, all right, I'll go harder next week, versus, oh, I went too hard in the gym, now I'm sore, now I'm hurt, and now maybe I can't train jiu-jitsu. The third and last thing is exercise selection. This is I think it's important for everyone, but especially if you're probably 35 plus, if you're in the 40s, definitely if you're in the 50s. I'm 37 years old. Is that we want to focus on foundational movement patterns. So what that means is that most of our exercises should be based on these movements. So these movements are a squat pattern, a upper push pattern, like I talked about earlier, upper pull pattern, a single leg pattern, and did I say hip hinge pattern? But what we have to understand is no exercise is a requirement. So when I say squat, if you can't back squat without pain, don't back squat. You want to find variations of these fundamental movement patterns that you can do without any real pain to your joints, and then be able to train hard. And this works, and this is really important for a few reasons. You're not going to strength train. When you do that, strength training is not going to kill your joints. The second thing, you can actually get better results because you can train harder. If you're trying to like fudge through a back squat, but the back squats, they kill your neck, they kill your lower back, you're not going to be able to train as hard, versus say you pick a squat variation that you can do almost pain-free, say it's like a goblet box squat, then you can go a little harder with that. So exercise variations are super important, especially as we get older. So we want to pick variations that work with us, and then not every exercise we're gonna love, but especially if you can find variations that hit all those boxes that you actually enjoy. So example, like say you hate leg presses, but you like front squats, like do front squats. If you can do an exercise that you actually enjoy and you do it with enough intensity, it's going to give you the same results versus an exercise that maybe you hate, that might be just as good. And obviously there's certain instances where you're not going to like certain exercises that are good for you and that you should do. Nothing wrong with picking variations that you actually enjoy, that you're going to want to train harder. So I always think of this as like jiu-jitsu. So sometimes like people are like, oh, Bobby, you're super disciplined, because I train jiu-jitsu like 6 days a week usually. And it's not discipline. I just have so much fun doing jiu-jitsu, so it's easy for me to show up. Like strength train is the same way. If you can kind of figure out a way to make your strength train a little funner and that you look forward to it, you're gonna go in and you're gonna train harder, and you get a lot more of your workout, versus going into a workout program and you're like, oh fuck, I hate this program, and you have to kind of like drag yourself through it. That's always going to be worse, and you probably get worse results. Even if you end up picking maybe like a little worse of a variation because of that, the fact that you'll train harder with that variation will probably give you better results. So those are the 3. If you guys have any questions, you guys can put them in the comments. If you want one-on-one help, I do one-on-one online coaching. I can help you from anywhere in the world. I write you customized workouts. I correct your form via videos. We check on with you once a week. You have access to me daily, so you can answer all your questions. I'll also put the link for my coaching application in there if you're interested.